Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is a universe that started in 2008 and is all the way now up until Phase 6. And that is why today we are going to be ranking MCU Phase 2. Last week we did MCU Phase 1, ranked and explained, and I actually did forget to put a rating on the Avengers, so I'll give that a 9.2. But anyway, in this video today we are talking MCU Phase 2, ranked and explained. But before we get into anything, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, hit that noti bell. Alright, MCU Phase 2. We have 6 movies in this phase. And like I said for Phase 1, there are no movies in this that I disliked. I did really enjoy them, and I have a really controversial ranking for one of them, and it's one of the Marvel movies that I really enjoy, and it is widely collectively agreed to be one of the worst MCU films, but I do not believe that to be the case because I really enjoyed it. But with all that being said, let's get right into it with number 6, our last place entry on this list. We have Ant-Man 1. Now, seeing Scott Lang introduced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it was cool. It was funny. Paul Rudd is hilarious. I enjoy him in all his films. It's just, this movie felt kind of by the book to me. It didn't do anything really interesting. The final battle was just okay. It was on that little train set. Again, it made it feel not like a grand battle. The only Avenger that they had in the movie when going to the Avengers campus was Falcon. And although that's kind of cool, again, I would have thought it was even better if other people were included. I think I'm also partially biased against this movie because I'm much more a fan of Hank Pym than I am Scott Lang. So I really think it would have been cooler and more enjoyable for me if it was Hank Pym over Scott Lang. That being said, there's nothing really wrong with this movie. The villain is okay. He's kind of a run-of-the-mill villain. He has very generic ambitions and generic justifications for why he's a villain, and it sort of falls flat in that way for me. I don't see this as a compelling villain, and because Ant-Man isn't a character that I'm absolutely in love with as a character, he's not in my top 10, I'm definitely harder on this movie than I would be if I absolutely love the character like Spider-Man. I will have a lot more leeway with Spider-Man as long as they don't ruin what that character represents with whatever movie they have him in. So that being said, I do have at last place, number 6, Ant-Man. And I rate this movie, honestly, probably 5.5. It's just kind of there. I've watched it a few times. It's not something that I would recommend to other people, and it's not something that I would seek out to rewatch for my enjoyment. And then coming in at number 5, this one is going to be pretty controversial, especially because I still haven't named the movie that a lot of people consider one of the worst. But that being said, my number 5 pick is Guardians of the Galaxy. Now look, again, I said this when I talked about Fantastic Four. The Guardians of the Galaxy are not one of my favorite groups or teams in comics. They are probably one of my least favorite teams in all of comics. I just don't really find them that enjoyable. The main villain in this, Ronan, is very forgettable. His ambitions, again, are just kind of there. They're the stereotypical villain. He wants power, control, and to destroy and take over Xandar and all that. So again, I feel like that really falls flat. I love Chris Pratt in this movie. I think he's hilarious. He does a great job. All the actors in the movie do a really great job. It's just, I don't really feel connected to any of their characters. I didn't get connected to Star-Lord until the second one, when we found out more about him. I actually enjoy the second Guardians movie more than the first. And I know that's really controversial too, because a lot of people consider the second one to be the weakest in the trilogy. Whereas I really enjoy that one because you get more backstory for my favorite character in the Guardians. But that being said, that is why I have this movie at number 5. And honestly, I would rate it probably about 6 out of 10. It's just kind of there for me. It's enjoyable at times, but it also really loses me at times. I don't care about Rocket. Groot, again, he's just kind of there. Drax, again, kind of there. I think the dynamic with Gamora is really cool, and especially her being the daughter of Thanos, I think that is an enjoyable aspect of the movie. But aside from that and the cool bits we get with Star-Lord, I don't care about Yondu. All that with the Ravengers, that's not something that really is intriguing to me. This movie definitely feels slow at times. But yeah, that's kind of my assessment of that movie. That is why I have it at number 5. Then we are going, within the top 5, we are going to number 4. And again, this is just going to get more and more controversial. I have Iron Man 3. And yes, I know, there's still not named the infamous movie that a lot of people hate. So I do have that movie once again above another movie that people love, Iron Man 3. And honestly, the biggest reason for this, I enjoyed it when it came out, and honestly, it's a toss-up. 4 and 3 could be interchangeable for me. Robert Downey Jr. is amazing in this movie. I think for me, the biggest reason is how they handled the Mandarin. I grew up watching Iron Man the Animated Series and Iron Man Armored Adventures, where they had the actual Mandarin with the Makluan rings, and I really think that's a cool concept. So I think part of my bias against this movie is they decided to make the Mandarin, or at least this version of the Mandarin, because I know he eventually appears in Shang-Chi, but this version of the Mandarin was just terrible. He's obviously just an actor, and he's hired by Aldrich Killian, and you get all the extremis stuff in it. Again, it's kind of a flat villain in my opinion. He's at least fueled by vengeance, but it feels similar to the first two. They have a vendetta against Tony Stark, and they're just seeking revenge against him. There is some sort of grander plan, but it's going to start with Tony Stark. And it all started because, he didn't go up and meet you on a rooftop? Again, that's just, the villain's motivations fell flat to me. That in the addition to being teased with the Mandarin, arguably Iron Man's best villain, and then you just pull the rug out from under us and, oh no, this guy's literally just an actor. That's the biggest reason I'm not a huge fan of this movie overall. It's still enjoyable, I'll rewatch it, but I won't go out of my way to say, hey, you should really check out this movie, because it's just kind of there for me. Again, if it's on, I'll watch it. I'm not going to go out of my way to watch this movie. So that being said, I do have this movie at about a 6.8 out of 10. It'll go up like 0.1, maybe down 0.1 every now and then. But yeah, just anytime I watch the animated series and then I watch this movie, it makes me rate it lower, because the Mandarin is so cool and his dynamic with Iron Man is so interesting in my opinion. But that being said, up to my number 3 pick, number 3 movie in MCU Phase 2. And yes, this is the infamous movie that everyone hates, Thor: The Dark World. I know, I'm crazy. This movie's terrible, I know. However, I think everyone overlooks the good that this movie does. It does have a villain that is kind of one-dimensional. But for this movie, I think that's okay. And the reason for that is, in the first Thor movie, we get Loki, a really complex character that then becomes the main antagonist of Avengers 1. And that was really awesome. So having a one-off villain in this is okay, because there's more story to tell. It's not about the main villain. It's about Asgard. It's about Thor and Jane. It's about introducing an Infinity Stone. That's why I never understood why every single person hates this movie so much. We get flashbacks from Odin, from Bor, and we get the death of Thor's mother. Thor is about 2 seconds too late from saving his mom. And in that, you see his pain, his rage as he attacks Malekith. And again, Jane is there. Jane is experiencing Asgard. And in this moment, Jane sees how hurt Thor is. She gets to experience an Asgardian funeral. This movie did so much as far as building their relationship. They may be one of my, if not my favorite relationship in the entire Marvel universe, as far as the MCU at least, because their chemistry is great. The buildup is great. The moments between Thor and Loki going to the Dark World, letting the ether get taken from Jane. Thor's hand gets cut off, but it's actually just a ruse by Loki. So again, you get a total flip side from the first movie, where you expect Loki is going to betray Thor. And it happens, but it's actually a deception against Malekith. I think that's so awesome. The fight scenes, they're okay, they're cool. The one on the Dark World is actually my favorite one in this movie. The one at the end is okay. It's not great, it's not spectacular, but it does what it needs to do. It doesn't look horrible. again, my favorite fight in this movie is the one on the Dark World. That one is really cool. In my opinion, that's the best fight in this movie. And it's not like I have this movie leagues above Iron Man. It's very, very close. However, the biggest reason I have it above that one is the characterization of the Mandarin and how poorly they did that. But in this, they have Malekith and the Dark Elves, and they do them justice. And I don't know about anyone else, but I'm actually a fan of when Thor was actually more Shakespearean rather than how he is in Ragnarok. I enjoy him in Infinity War. However, Love and Thunder and even parts of Endgame where they just make a joke out of him, not a huge fan of it, to be honest. I would prefer him being more Shakespearean and then having those subtle moments of humor. Like when he takes Mjolnir and hangs it up on the coat rack. That's hilarious. That made me laugh out loud when I saw it. So again, that is why I have this movie at number 3. I would rate this movie, honestly, a 7 out of 10. I enjoy it. I know that's very controversial. Everyone's probably going to call me crazy. But again, I enjoy it. There are parts of this movie I enjoy it. I get why people don't like it, and I get the issues around it. However, I personally feel like it is stronger than the other 3 entries. That being said, it does not come close to the number 2 and number 1 spot on this list. And that is why I'm going to go to number 2, Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, this is widely considered the worst of the 4 Avengers movie. Not that it's bad, it's just not as strong. And while I do agree, I think this movie does offer some really cool aspects. One of which being, this is our only movie in which we actually get the Avengers team doing Avengers team things. And by that, I mean, in the first Avengers movie, we get them as a team in the final battle. That's their first fight together. They're not going out on missions together, versus in Age of Ultron, they are. In the beginning, they're taking down that Hydra base, and you see the dynamic. You see Thor and Captain America doing that combo move, and you see the banter between them. Again, that is what I want from an Avengers film. I know Infinity and Endgame had obviously them broken up, and half of them were gone, and that makes sense for the story. But it is really cool to see how these characters interact on just run-of-the-mill missions. That's a really awesome aspect. James Spader is amazing as Ultron. His voice is impeccable. He is imposing. He's an interesting villain, and he makes sense in a lot of ways. And I definitely do like that for a villain, one that you can understand what they're trying to do. He wants to build a suit of armor around the world. Now, he wants to do that by making the entire world go extinct, or at least most of it, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's something that obviously that's crazy, but you could see where he's coming from with part of it. We get the introduction of Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver. Part of the reason that I take some points off for this movie, Quicksilver is one of my favorite Marvel characters. He is one of my favorite X-Men characters, probably my favorite mutant, honestly, aside from Magneto. So the fact that they killed him off really pissed me off. I know that they kind of had to with movie rights, with Fox and all that. But again, I can't take that into account when I assess my enjoyment of a movie. And that definitely took away from it. The fact that he died, especially in the way he died, he 100% could have moved to the side. Like, come on. You want to tell me that I need to believe that he was fast enough to move Hawkeye and the other girl, but yet he was just standing there riddled with bullets? Come on. That's silliness. They should have done it in a different way if they were going to kill him off. That was just silly, in my opinion. But that being said, I do really enjoy other aspects. The final battle is really cool, where you get that 360 shot of all the Avengers fighting Ultron. You get Captain America doing that flip and using his shield, Thor throwing his hammer. Again, just this Avengers team that was built up in the first movie has had several of their own films now coming together once again and actually teaming up was really, really cool and fun to see. And then we do obviously get the tease for Thanos at the end. So that being said, I do have this film rated at, I would say, an 8.5. Again, it'll go up a 0.1, down a 0.1, depending on a couple of factors, but I would say right at this moment, that is what I rate that movie at. It's enjoyable. I would recommend it to other people. When it came out, I would go and tell people, hey, go see the new Avengers movie. It's actually really good. That being said, it's not a perfect film, and I know that. And that actually brings us to our number 1 pick, one of, if not my favorite Marvel movie, honestly considered to be the best Marvel movie, or at the very least in the top 3, and that is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. This movie's great. I have rewatched this movie so many times. On your left, everything in this movie is great. the callbacks you get, the teases for Doctor Strange, Bruce Banner. That's awesome. It is so, so cool. It's like a spy movie with Captain America. That's literally what it is. You get Captain America and Black Widow trying to uncover what's going on with S.H.I.E.L.D. You have seeds of Hydra, Artem Zola, in this film. And then you obviously have the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes. So you have a personal conflict with Captain America, with the main antagonist of the movie. And he wants to save him. Captain America defeats him in the end, but he refuses to fight him. And he just lets him beat him over and over again. And he tells him, "You're my mission." So Cap looks at him and goes, "So finish it, because I'm with you till the end of the line." And you see Bucky, when he hears that, he almost remembers. So again, just the characterization of all the characters. You obviously get Falcon introduced in this movie. Anthony Mackie is great. I just really, really enjoy this movie. I think it is an awesome representation of all the characters. Overall, I honestly rate this movie probably about a 9.5 out of 10. It's one of the highest comic book movies that I've ever rated because it is so good. That opening scene on the ship where Captain America is just, he's literally killing those people. And he is doing it with ease. It is awesome. And then you get that moment where he's fighting George St. Pierre's character. I think he's Batroc, and he tells him to put down the shield, so he does. He takes his helmet off, and he still kicks his ass. Just such an awesome moment. Again, this movie has so many cool, quotable lines, great action scenes. One of the best fights in the MCU, in my opinion, is where Bucky and Cap are fighting on the street, where Bucky's doing all that stuff with the knife. It is just awesome. Again, there's genuinely nothing about this movie that I would change. It is amazing, in my opinion. So again, that is why I give it about a 9.5, 9.6. But let me know what all of you think. What do you think of my ratings? Do you think I'm that crazy for enjoying Thor: The Dark World so much? And how would you rate these movies? Let me know in the comments down below. While you guys are down there, like this video, subscribe to the page, hit that noti bell, and I will see all of you in the next video. Goodbye.